You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K23. The one and only Momuzi alongside me as always, Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ's having a sip of his drink.
Real name.
And he's blowing your headphones off. Well, it's currently 6 a.m. in the UK. And we're recording this after an interesting night in the NBA.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting is a nice way of putting it. BJ, I'm a fan of the game of basketball. I love basketball. I love the NBA. But these two games we watched were absolutely terrible.
Okay.
I have lots of thoughts. I have lots of opinions. But I want to get yours first. Where are we starting? We're starting in the East or the West?
We got to start in the East. That was the first game of the evening.
Yes.
Morning for you.
Yeah, the game in the East where the Atlanta Hawks figured out if we get more rebounds, we'll win this game. They must have listened to a recent episode, which I hope Jason Kidd paid attention to as well. But they figured it out nicely against a very small Miami Heat team. Playoff Jimmy, as people like to refer to Jimmy Butler, didn't turn up. Bam Adebayo, who everyone says is the third best center in the NBA, did not look like the third best center in the NBA. The rest of the team did a whole lot of nothing, and it was basically Kyle Lowry trying to keep his team in the game so that he could avoid having to play against his best friend DeMar DeRozan or his former team, the Toronto Raptors, in the next playing game, which they're going to have to play in because they lost. The Atlanta Hawks, great game for them. They did their thing. And they got through to secure the 7th seed where they will face my Boston Celtics. What did you make of that game, Mr. Armstrong?
Well, I think, Mo, the big thing in watching that game was the offensive rebounds. That really stood out to me. They were just overmatched, talking about the Miami Heat. Mm-hmm. They're small, and they had over 20 offensive rebounds in this game. The Atlanta Hawks. And
I think Clint Capella had 13 of them or something. Yeah, he had 13 offensive rebounds.
It's very, very difficult to win when you give up that many offensive rebounds. And, you know, Mo, I'm big on defense when it comes to this time of the year. And defense doesn't stop until you get the rebound. And clearly, when you give up that many offensive rebound opportunities and second shots, it's going to increase your chances to win, especially playing on the road. So give the Atlanta Hawks credit. They did a terrific job. They played. They won a game. And if you want to sum it up, it was just, you can just say offensive rebounding.
Clint Capella.
And Clint Capella, I think he had like 8 or 9.
He had 13 offensive rebounds, BJ. He had 21 boards.
No, he didn't have 13 offensive
rebounds.
Look
at the stat sheet. Look at the stat sheet. Wait. He had 21 rebounds. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no. He had 13 defensive rebounds and 8 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's all the same. Yeah, it's all the same. Listen, when you get that many, because the Miami Heat as a team had 6 offensive rebounds. So when you get past 6, let me ask you this. Coach Spo, we talk about him, one of the best coaches in the league. Kevin Love, 3 minutes. Cody Zeller, 3 minutes. Udonis Haslem coming off a 24-point outing, 0 minutes. Who would have thought that having Max Strus as your power forward isn't an ideal optimum way to go against a team who has John Collins and Clint Capella in their front court? I don't know. But interestingly, before the game tipped off, the news came out that there was a leak that the Atlanta Hawks are open to trading Trae Young this summer. What did you make of that?
Well, listen, I have a hard time believing that someone in the Atlanta front office would leak that out right before the game. Now, there's a lot of speculations, and, it takes 2 to tango. So which team right now, before the draft, before the playoffs even begin, technically, is going to say, we're ready to trade for him right now? Mm-hmm. So, no, I'm not buying this. However, it's a nice rumor for people to talk about. But unfortunately, being in the league, listen, you don't go through 82 games and not give yourself a chance to get Victor Wembanyama, okay? Mm-hmm. So So I'm not buying this one just because everyone understands what's at stake here. This is going to be a really good draft. And there isn't a team right now that's going to say this before the play-in game. I mean, come on, like, give it a break. However, for the sake of rumors and slow media days, of course, it sounds good, feels good, but no, you're not doing that.
Well, by the way, I do want to say, if you guys haven't heard yet, yesterday we released the interview with Allen Iverson, so check that out. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, Apple, all that. But let's talk about the Western Conference. The Lakers and the Timberwolves went head-to-head to battle it out for the 7th seed for the chance to play against Memphis in what was a very painful fourth quarter to watch. I think the Timberwolves didn't score from like the 6-minute mark left in the fourth up until the final second, where Anthony Davis fouled Mike Conley as he was fading away from the corner trying to shoot a three-pointer with 0.1 left on the clock. Very interesting. A horrendous game. It's a good job that the Lakers won because LeBron James turned the ball over on many occasions, in some crucial occasions, and it wasn't great for him. He looked very tired out there. Anthony Davis picked up a knock at some point, but I believe he'll be fine. Karl-Anthony Towns was in foul trouble from fairly early on. Anthony Edwards did not look like himself. It was just all in all not a great game of basketball, but when both teams are playing so badly, it makes for good competition as the game went to overtime. And, you know, much to the delight of fans outside of America, we're still here at 6 a.m. talking about it. So I just watched this just, you know, sometimes I watch a game, BJ, and there's just things that just annoy me. Karl-Anthony Towns, you're 7 foot tall. If you're being guarded by Austin Reeves, tell me why you think a step back jump shot is the optimal shot to take. Get to the block and get a bucket. I'm so tired of this guy playing so soft all the time. I'm just tired. I'm tired of it, BJ. What did you think of the game?
Well, for 3 quarters, I want to give Minnesota credit. I thought they were terrific. It really was engaging. I mean, they really put together a great first half where they were up like 11 or 12 points. I know it was a double-digit lead. And suddenly you're in a game. You're in a fight now. And so I was shocked. I didn't think that the Minnesota Timberwolves were going to give the LA Lakers, who've been one of the better teams in the second half of the season since they made those trades. However, they came out and played well. Now, the fourth quarter, for whatever reason, give the Lakers credit because they turned up their defense. The offense got very stagnant there in the fourth quarter. They stopped moving the ball. For some reason, their primary ball handler, in my opinion, their best ball handler, Mike Conley, was not handling the ball down the stretch to initiate the offense.
And they were taking so long to get into everything. There was
and they were giving
like
it, and I love
the shot clock.
And I love slow-mo. I love slow-mo. However, Mike Conley is one of the better ball handlers and initiators of the offense in the entire league. He's a veteran. He's steady. He's a pressure player. And I don't know why they were going away from him and Anthony Edwards. Now, you know, I got to believe Anthony Edwards was hurt to some degree or something was going on. He didn't look like himself.
No, not at all.
But he played, and give him credit.
And even though he wasn't scoring, he was getting steals on defense. He was pulling down rebounds. Like, you know, he was still playing hard, even though his shots weren't falling.
Yeah. So whatever it is, but this should be, you know, an opportunity for them, talking about Minnesota, to look at the tape, review the game, and say, we put together 3 quarters. And in the fourth quarter, they just stopped moving. They stopped moving. You got to move and have cutters and move the defense, because the defense for the Lakers, you know, they didn't have to move. You would just give it to Karl-Anthony Towns standing at the 3-point line, and everyone would just stand and watch him. And then they would give it to slow-mo and watch him. And then, you know, it was just very stagnant, and it was a little disappointing because they played so hard and they played so well. And look, both teams played hard enough to win the game, make no doubt about it. However, when you give an effort like that, like the Minnesota Timberwolves did, because they poured their heart into that game. You know, you got to find ways to get them easier shots or get up at least a good shot. It was sometimes, well, they couldn't even get up a shot, which was disappointing. And that just comes down to offensive execution at the end of the game.
Do you know what's disappointing for me, BJ? Last week, I came on this show and I spoke about how I'm a believer in the Lakers to win the West. I just watched them struggle to barely beat a Minnesota Timberwolves team who were without Rudy Gobert, their rim protector, without Jaden McDaniels, maybe their best defender, without Naz Reid, and they barely won the game.
And Anthony Edwards, I don't know.
And Anthony Edwards basically didn't.
Was it? Yeah.
So
listen, I just think. Listen,
I'm changing my picture.
Interesting. I'm gonna say this. Yeah. Okay? Nice. I'm gonna tell you something that was interesting. This was very interesting that I'm going to keep an eye out now that they are in the playoffs. Okay, yeah. With a 7 seed. They didn't play D'Angelo Russell at all.
He was having a shocker.
Okay. And I'm a little concerned with that. Okay.
And this was supposed to be his revenge game against the team that traded him away. Instead, it was Mike Conley who showed up.
Well, I all I'm saying is I was a little shocked that D'Angelo Russell was not in there somehow, some way, participating in the game, because they went with, basically Schroeder, Hachimura,
Troy Brown hit a couple of big threes.
Yeah, LeBron and AD.
Austin Reeves.
So Austin Reeves. So I'm just a little shocked that they didn't play D'Angelo Russell, because if they're going to be playing every other day now, those guys in Memphis, no, they're young and they're athletic, man. Now they're not as deep now. They're down a couple. The Lakers looked a little old, a little sluggish. They just looked a little old to me tonight. Give them credit. They won the game. They did what they had to do. But if you're going to be playing every other day, and you're going to be playing and you're going to be playing against a better team. I mean, Memphis is a better team. I just think this is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Now, you got to look at the matchups, and on paper it looks good, and we got to see it. You got to go out there and do it. Now, it's one thing to talk about it, but without question, both teams should feel good about going into the right.
Minnesota should not feel good.
Well, I got to give Minnesota. Well, Minnesota, they gave effort. Look, Mo, these are good teams.
They gave effort, and they should have won the game. They were up double digits.
Well, it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. I mean, it's tough. They gave an effort, and I'm going to give them this. They had to overcome a lot of things. And here's something that I can say. No one's going to say it, but I think we should say it here. How the situation was handled with Rudy Gobert, right? They could have used Rudy Gobert tonight just as another defensive player down there on the box. They could have used him. I know
when Cat got into foul trouble, I guess.
So we could have used, they could have used Rudy Gobert. And certainly, you don't know what's going to happen. Give the Lakers credit, but I'm going to give the Minnesota credit for figuring out a way after everything they've gone through in the media. That wasn't an easy thing to overcome. For them to overcome all of that, all the obstacles they've overcome, and then figure out a way to play and give that type of effort. Now, like I told you when it happened, things happen all the time. It's just now we're seeing it on camera now, like we didn't see it before. You might have heard about it. Oh, man, I heard there was an argument on the bench. What really happened? I don't know. The only people that really knew was probably the people at the game. Now, everyone sees it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting now because we've got the next set of games coming up tonight when you guys are hearing this. The Raptors and the Bulls, and then the Pelicans and the Thunder. I know they're going to be watching these games with some intent. I think that they'll be feeling pretty confident, both sets of teams, that they could beat whoever is waiting for them in the next matchup if they can win tonight's games. Because as great as the effort was from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and we could say it was a great effort, not scoring for the final 6 minutes of a game, not even once. Maybe did I score once? Maybe I'm wrong, but not scoring twice, I guess. Shocking. Karl-Anthony Towns, if you want to be an all-star and you want to come out here and say you're the best shooting big man of all time, why not make some shots when it counts? How about that? Why not make some shots when it actually matters? He had a great first half. I don't want to take anything away from him. Why not make some shots when it counts? Why not use your 7-foot frame to score a bucket when Austin Reeves is guarding you? Just a suggestion. Just a suggestion, a humble suggestion. I don't know, BJ. First half was impressive. They should have run away with it. But the fact that the Lakers played so badly in the first half and were only down 10 or 11 points, I knew the Lakers were going to win from that moment. Like, you knew that the Lakers were going to win by the fact that they could barely score in the first half and they were still in the game. So congratulations to them. They're no longer my pick to win the Western Conference after seeing that tonight. I'm holding an early L on that.
That was quick. Oh, that was quick. Took you it took you a half. They didn't even take you a full game to say
I know. That. I don't know, BJ. I think I don't know. I mean, LeBron could go home tonight, drink from the fountain of youth again, and come back on Sunday looking like LeBron James again. Maybe that happens. But against that Timberwolves team that was down 3 of their core rotational players, I was expecting a Lakers blowout. And I'm very disappointed in the Miami Heat as well. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens in the next ones.
How come you were disappointed in Miami?
Because everyone talks this. All season long we get this rubbish from people on TV saying, "Oh, that you should be worried about the Miami Heat in the playoffs. Oh, Jimmy Butler's gonna turn it up a notch. Oh, Coach Spo's gonna figure it out. Oh, the Miami Heat are lurking. They can upset someone in the East." Couldn't even beat the damn Atlanta Hawks. Couldn't even beat the Atlanta Hawks in one game. At home. At home. And the team is... And you leak a report in the media to try and throw off the other team by saying Trae Young's going to get traded. Okay. And you still lose? Okay. I don't know. Maybe try grabbing some rebounds and winning the game. I don't know. But maybe it's the lack of sleep that's getting me. But I just don't have it today. I just don't have it. I'm just looking at these teams and I'm like, come on, guys. How are you not seeing what we're seeing? I mean, it was painful watching that Minnesota offense down the stretch. It's like you're not getting into your set until like 10 seconds left in the shot clock, 6 seconds left, and now you're scrambling, and it looks like no one even wants to take the shot. You're all passing it to each other like a hot potato. I'm tired of it. I hope tonight's games are better. I think that the Pelicans Thunder game is going to be better.
I thought both of the games were excellent, personally. I thought these were 2 very well played games. And here's
come on. You can't say me that Heat game was excellent. I think the idea is excellent. I think like the drama of, this is a playing game, winner gets into the playoffs, we go into overtime, fantastic. Storyline, fantastic. As a lover of good basketball, I didn't see much of that tonight.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
However, I will say that I thought it was excellent. And here's why. The Atlanta Hawks had a game plan. And they came in and they executed their game plan. And somehow, some way, after halftime, the Miami Heat had that thing cut down to like 5 or 6. They came out on like 11-0 run.
Yeah, it was expected.
Okay. And then they made a game out of it. They couldn't get over the hump, but they made a game. And Kyle Lowry, what an effort.
Sensational.
What an effort. I mean, here's a guy who comes off the bench. I don't know, would he finish with 30-something, right? Comes off the bench, there's a 30-point effort off the bench, and they needed 33. Every one of those points to just be in the game, and he gave him a chance. Shot goes here, shot goes there, and they missed a ton of layups. I mean, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo missed. They had to miss at least.
Could you call him by his proper name, please? Playoff Jimmy, or should we now call him Play-in Jimmy?
I call Jimmy Butler. I don't know all the other stuff.
I mean, the Miami Heat fans were saying that the Celtics need to get ready for playoff Jimmy, but
okay. And then all of a sudden, the camera was on Udonis Haslem, and he's just going off on everyone. I loved it. And listen, the Atlanta Hawks, they needed this win. They needed this win. I listen to talk radio and here, and I listened to all the talk shows before. No one had the Atlanta Hawks winning this game. So they were able to block out the noise. And that's why I was so impressed. And they did it on the road. It wasn't like they were playing in front of their home court or their home fan base. They came in and they won. They did a job. And then the second game, wow. I mean, those guys came in. I mean, Mo, the last 2 or 3 days has just been Rudy Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, there's a game on Tuesday night here. but the whole talk has been Rudy Gobert, Rudy Gobert, Rudy Gobert. And then they come in, you looking after 3 quarters, they're down like 11 points. Talking about the LA Lakers. Yeah. So I was like thrilled. I was on the phone, I didn't know if you were still up or
I'm
what
always
have
up.
you. But what a great, it was a treat for me. I hope that the games tomorrow will be just as good. I mean, when Mike Conley was fouled in the corner, God. It's a long time before I was screaming because I couldn't believe the play. And then did you see his reaction on the first free throw that he made?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like
almost didn't make it.
Yeah. I mean, it was great.
It was great drama. It was great drama. I'll say that. It was great drama.
It was terrific. I loved it. Kind of gets me ready for the playoffs. The play-in. This is like the, kind of just get me. And you know what I loved, Mo? You know what I loved most about this game?
Go ahead.
It's in the regular season, guys are just shooting threes and they're just chucking up threes and chucking up shots and everyone's playing pace and space, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, Mo, the game is slowing down a little bit. Hey, Mo, they were throwing it into the post a little bit.
Well, not for Cat. He was on a 3-point line trying to take step backs against Austin Reeves.
Mo, everyone's trying to get a shot every time down. And you saw the game. I was like, oh, I recognize this game. And it was great. And it's going to be even better once we get into the playoffs. So this is great. What a great start. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. That Toronto-Chicago Bulls game, I have no idea who's going to win that game. I mean, and I'm really excited to see the young Oklahoma City Thunder because I want to see Giddey and Shea Alexander and all those guys over there, all those young players play a meaningful game so that you can kind of say, wow, if they get such and such and such and such, they could be. Because we all think they're going to be a pretty good team based on their talent, right?
Yep.
So I'm excited for the games tomorrow. Big game for the New Orleans Pelicans. They need this game.
No Zion.
So, you know what, Mo? I got to get my rest because what? The games are coming.
It's 6 in the morning. I got to get my rest.
You got to get your nap. You got to get your nap in. Games are coming, Mo. You know what? And then Mo, this weekend.
Oh boy.
Will the beam? I want to know if there's going to be a beam this weekend. I can't wait, Mo. That's what I'm excited for.
I canceled all my plans for this weekend. I had plans.
Hey.
I had to say, yo, chill. The playoffs begin.
Sacramento and Golden State. I think there's a little tension here. I think there's a little tension in the air.
We're gonna get into it. B. But right now it's time to rest. This has been the Hoop Genius podcast. If you want more, check out yesterday's episode. It was an interview with Allen Iverson. Make sure you give that a listen to. And we'll be back tomorrow with more from the NBA play-in. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and all that good stuff. And most importantly, unlike the Timberwolves for the final 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, get buckets.